Love is everywhere, in stories, in memories, in sacrifices made quietly and grandly. We speak of it as the force that makes life meaningful, the thread that binds us to one another. For centuries, humans have written poetry about it, died for it, grieved because of it, and so it is easy to believe that love is what makes us human. But is that really true? For a very long time, humans have tried to define love, and despite its prevalence in poetry, philosophy, religion, science, and even our own lives, it is incredibly difficult to understand and define love. As universal as it is, people seem to be unable to wrap our minds around it. Oftentimes, we think of love as a single thing, but in his book The Four Loves, C.S. Lewis explores four different kinds of love: agape, philia, storge, and eros. Regardless of what kind of love it is, love draws people towards one another, whether it be between man and God, as it is with agape, or mother and child in storge. Each form of love involves giving of oneself, not for reward, but because the other is worth it. In the truest form, love is a kind of gift, and a choice that a lover has to make over and over again. Love isn't just what you feel, it's what you do. In 2018, a 73-year-old Army veteran, William Hester, was walking to a dental appointment with his wife in McClellan Park, California, when a speeding pickup barreled towards them. He shoved her clear of the impact and was killed. With the few seconds he had, he chose to save her, not because of anything she could do for him, but because he loved. Ultimately, love is the force that pulls us out of ourselves and towards communion, vulnerability, and meaning. And maybe that's what it means to be human. Love feels like the most human thing about us. The stories we tell, the promises we make, the graves we visit, they all point towards a force that seems to transcend instinct. We write poetry about people long gone. We hold on to memories, not just of how someone touched our life, but how they loved us or didn't. In love, we remember, imagine, hope, and grieve. So it's tempting, even natural to think that love is what makes us human. After all, animals may protect, nurture, and even bond. But do they choose love the way we do? Do they write it into their stories? Die for it on principle? Do they mourn over the loss of love? For me, this brings to mind the story of Saint Maximilian Kolbe. Father Maximilian Kolbe was a Polish Franciscan held in Auschwitz. When 10 prisoners were condemned to starve, one man allegedly cried, "My wife, my children." Kolbe stepped forward and asked to die in his place. For 2 weeks, he led hymns and prayers in a bunker until guards ended his life with a lethal injection. Kolbe's act had no payoff. He neither knew the prisoner nor expected recognition. He simply kept choosing the man's life over his own, turning love into a deliberate gift. When researching this topic, I really believed that the answer was a simple yes. Only humans can love. My whole life, I believed that love was one of those things that made us uniquely human. But the more I dug, the less certain I became, because it turns out that animals grieve too. Elephants have been observed touching and staying with their dead. Dogs have waited at doors for owners who never return. Some animals refuse to eat after a loss. Others exhibit something that looks eerily like depression. Take the story of Hachiko, a white Akita in 1920s Tokyo. Every day, he would wait at Shibuya Station for his owner, a professor, to return from work. One day, the professor died suddenly, but Hachiko kept coming back. Every day, for almost 10 years, he waited at that same spot long after his owner was gone. These aren't just cold instincts. They look like relational bonds, emotional attachment, and even a kind of mourning. Maybe the problem isn't that animals don't love. Maybe it's that they don't express it in a way we recognize. They don't write stories. They don't name their grief. But does that mean that the love isn't real? After all, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. And if I'm being honest, a part of me still resists this. There's a voice that says, but surely there's something different about us. When we talk about animals, we think of this unsightly image: rash, barbaric, rough. As C.S. Lewis writes in The Four Loves, a man has a more important likeness to God than these by being rational. There is a certain anthropocentrism in the way we think, that maybe humanity is better in some way. After all, we remember, we reflect, we carry love across decades and generations. We choose to stay, we choose to return, and we love in defiance of our own self-interest. But that voice isn't proof, it's just habit. When I listen to my favorite artists singing of love, or when I read literatures by the great playwrights and poets, I still feel that nag. This is humanity, I say to myself. But in doing this, I assume language, ritual, and abstractions are signs of higher love. I've never seen a dog get married, or a penguin write love letters. But can I ever know that a whale's song is any less than mine? Could it be that love doesn't require language, but simply being with, suffering with, and staying with? Science is moving forward. We've discovered that animals have mirror neurons, empathy, and even mourning behavior. We might never know if animals love like we do, but that doesn't mean they don't. The more I questioned it, the more I realized how much of this belief that love is what makes us human relies on the limitations of others rather than the evidence of ourselves. Maybe animals don't lack love. Maybe we lack the tools to recognize it when it isn't dressed like ours.